Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Vassel. I am the author and founder of I Am Unique, a self-love and children's media brand. Our mission is to inspire kids and adults to overcome their insecurities and share their unique gifts with the world.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jennifer. My name is Ehi Oviasu-Kahn. I'm the chairwoman of the board of Women in Toys Licensing and Entertainment, and welcome to the latest installment of our Who Am I interview series. In the Who Am I interview series, we speak with women creators from underrepresented communities as they share their stories of triumph, innovation, and inclusion, and they impart those lessons to all our members and listeners. Thank you for joining us, and we'll begin. So, Jennifer, how has your journey in the professional world shaped your sense of identity as a Black woman? And what unique strengths do you believe Black women bring to the workplace?
Yeah, so I'd like to start off by saying that I'm the firstborn of Jamaican immigrants, the firstborn of Jamaican immigrants. So that in itself is something that is unique that I bring to every room that I enter. And oftentimes I am the one in a few or the only person. And instead of thinking of it as a hindrance, I like to think of it as an added strength because I have a diverse perspective and a unique way of thinking, and from my experiences and the way that I grew up, that I can use as an advantage to the rooms that I occupy.
That's wonderful. So taking something that would normally might hold you back and turn it into your own superpower,
Yes,
recognizing your unique vantage point gives you some advantages as opposed to setting yourself apart. Yes, there are
for
always ways to
sure.
set yourself apart, but leaning into that part. That's something to think about. Can you share a specific experience or challenge you faced as a Black woman in your career, and how did it contribute to your professional and personal success?
I think as I move in certain spaces, the professional world, the work world, I've noticed that we all have come in with certain biases and certain sort of perceptions and frameworks around people. And if they don't fit in that particular box that we put them in, I notice that sometimes people will wonder, well, what's wrong with them or why is that? And so I can give a really good example. I identify as an introvert, and I am I'm a person who's very process oriented, methodical. And when it comes to problem solving, I like to problem solve individually first and then bring it to the team, bring the results and the solutions to the team.
Mhm.
And I'm on top of that, I'm also creative. So I would say I'm a dynamic type of person and type of personality. And sometimes it can be misconstrued as, oh, well, she's not a team player, or what's wrong with her? Is there something that we're not doing? And like people have a certain thought about it. And so what I like to do whenever I am in different settings, the workplace, and I'm on teams, I like to get to know who I'm working with because, we're all people and we all come in with our own set of thoughts and beliefs systems. And then I want to understand their communication style. I want to understand what makes them tick from on a human level. What makes them tick? What motivates them? What are their stressors? Because at the end of the day, we're a team and we have to work together. So coming in with our other baggage, like we have to leave that at the door and make sure that we are working in synergy and working together. So I always like to get to know people on a human level, especially if we're working in a group dynamic.
That's so fascinating. I wouldn't say it's baggage because it almost sounds like your identity, your minority identity, female identity, and then being introvert informs your perspective into the world because you know that people are going to project things onto you. So it almost pushes you to reach out, reach into the people in your team, find out what they're thinking, and find out their strengths. I think that's a really powerful tool. That's something to think about going forward. Very interesting. So, related to that, in a world where stereotypes exist and an industry dominated by men and traditional networks, how do you navigate and overcome obstacles to achieve success in your professional life while staying true to yourself?
I like to so first of all, I am not ashamed to say that I don't know what I don't know. I am not the type to not invest in myself or invest in my knowledge gaps. And so, especially being in any industry, but particularly in entertainment, since we're um, with respect to WiT, being in
Yeah.
the entertainment space and being in the business, I understand that I'm not going to know everything, and that I'm okay with investing in the spaces that I'm not familiar with. And what that looks like for me is going to conferences and going to workshops, investing in those spaces so that I can be aligned with the people that I want to learn from and learn their expertise. So I don't see it as a challenge. I see it more as an area of opportunity for me to learn and grow. I'm never going to be that person who's going to sit in the corner and sulk and say that I don't know how to figure this out, because we live in a world where there's so many, we're all connected in some way. And there are professional networks like WiT that, you know, we can leverage other people's expertise and learn from them. And so when there's a dominant group who might have the 30 plus years of knowledge, I'm not intimidated by that. If anything, I'm inspired by it. And I often come from the standpoint of, you know, reaching out and asking for an informational, learning about what got them to the place that they are now, and how can I mitigate the struggle or the risks that I might come across because I'm earlier on in the stage. So that's how I look at opportunities in rooms where I'm not, might be not the most knowledgeable in the room or have the most experience, but I use that as a learning opportunity because I'm a forever student.
That's incredible. And I love that attitude, how you lean into the question to sort of to get it's if you think of success like you're stepping on a ladder or you're climbing up stepping up a ladder or climbing up a set of stairs, each question builds a foundation for the next level of achievement. So by recognizing that, you're able to step forward. And I think the way you put it is also really salient for people who are not just starting out, because when you're starting out, you get all that advice, ask questions, ask for informationals, but you can keep doing this throughout your career. There's
Mm-hmm.
always going to be something you don't know. And it's never bad to say you don't know. Maybe you can add a little style to it when you ask for informational, do your research, obviously, like people will have different expectations, but people are really happy to share the knowledge that they've acquired if you're approaching it in a constructive way. That's at least what I have found in my career journey, and especially in the world of toys. I think that's very useful. So thank you for
That
sharing.
same. Yeah.
Thank you. So what advice would you give to young Black women who are just starting their careers based on your own experiences and the lessons you've learned along the way?
My advice would be to start networking now, start building your networking now.
Mhm.
If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. That is an amazing professional resource for you. We live in a digital era. Like we have so much access to people. And if you want to build your rapport, build your relationship with people, start learning about what they're doing, what makes them successful, what lessons can you learn from them. I'll also say that you don't necessarily have to have a formal mentor to succeed. You can be mentored from afar. There are a
Mhm.
lot of people out there who are graciously sharing their knowledge and expertise via podcasts, via books, on and offline. So support them, and success will leave clues. So if you are invested and you see people a few steps ahead of you and you want to get to where they are, be sure to support their work, read up on their work. I'll also say, I had mentioned it in the other question about requesting for informationals. If you're earlier in your career, that has been the best way for me to learn more about any industry that I navigate. So if you're going to reach out for informationals, make sure that you do your research,
Yep.
make sure that you are not asking questions that are Googleable.
Mhm.
Make sure you're being really thoughtful so that you're not wasting people's time.
Those are so many gems packed in that answer. I think the successful leave breadcrumbs. I think that's the phrase you used. Can you put that on a t-shirt? Can we get some merch
Yeah,
off
success
of
leaves clues.
I
It really
really, it
does.
really
It really
does. It really does. When you
yeah.
read interview and biography after biography, you watch, you listen to TED Talks, there's a story. You just have to tease the
Mhm.
details out. And that can be, sometimes it can be daunting. You say to yourself, I can never, like, this person's on this mountain of success. How can I get there? But by the time you stitch together 10 or 12 narratives, you've got
Mhm.
some ideas. And so just don't be intimidated by that. But I love that. I love that.
Yes, there's
Um,
definitely a theme. Some of your favorite artists, your favorite authors out there, there's a theme, a thread, a common thread amongst all of them. And so if you study them, support their work, learn about their work, you'll be able to adapt in your own career journey too.
Fantastic. Um, I'm still really, it's such a great answer. Um, how do you balance the various roles and responsibilities in your life, both personally and professionally? And what strategies have helped you maintain this fulfillment? I mean, I ask this because there's the job and there's the support and pursuit of the job, and that you're doing all that research constantly, that constant self-investment, as well as the path you've chosen. But you're one person, right? Doing all of that. That's a lot of mental energy being expended in two related but very demanding areas. So how do you balance it all with staying whole and healthy and happy?
Yeah, I love a planner. I love a physical planner, and then I have one on my phone. So I use it professionally and personally. The way that I keep myself on track too is by having accountability partners in
Hmm.
spaces that I want to improve upon. So, for example, I've been really getting into my fitness and wellness journey,
Mhm.
and I have a friend who's on the same path as well. So we go
Excellent.
work out together.
Mhm.
We share updates. We take pictures of our yummy meals, our nutritious
Ooh.
meals. So having someone in place to help to keep you accountable, you're more likely to reach that goal if you have someone there by your side. The other thing that I do, the past 6 months, I've really been on this transformational wellness journey where I'm really prioritizing the food that I'm putting in my body, how I'm moving my body, and I'm really prioritizing my mental health. So I go to therapy. And so when I have these big, audacious goals, I have to have the right mind, body, and spirit
Mhm.
to fulfill myself and carry me through. So those have been really my like three big pillars that have been helping me to carry on the pursuit of my goals and dreams. So yeah.
Wonderful. And I'm so glad you mentioned this sort of the holistic approach to your health and support, in
Mhm.
particular mental health, which I'm happy to say now these days is getting more support and acceptance in the Black community, immigrant communities, generationally. It's far more acceptable than it was maybe even 10 years ago. And I think that's a really important point to put front and center. A lot of the people you see who are succeeding are absolutely getting that help now because you are the same person who has to get up and execute is the same person who's beating themselves up the night before. See, but you have to get up the next day and
Exactly. Yeah.
perform. So how you need to take care of that, you are your instrument. You need to take care and baby and preserve and invest in that instrument. And that work is part of that process. Really need to understand that, particularly as you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. It's the same shop that does it all, right? The same well is providing all
Right.
these things. It's got to be in tip-top shape. So very important point to emphasize. And my last formal question, as we celebrate the Wonder Woman in every woman, how do you envision the future for women in the workforce? And what changes would you like to see in terms of equality and empowerment?
I think we're doing a pretty good job of formal mentorship. Like I'm seeing a lot of opportunities out there where people can join the, mentorship groups or professional networks where they can get mentors or have a professional relationship with people who are a few steps ahead of them. What
Mhm.
I would love to see more of, and I think is a big area of opportunity, is more funding around Black-owned businesses. Black women are the fastest growing segment of entrepreneurs, but Black women are getting the least, less than 1% of the funding. And if we're not getting the funding, how are we able to scale? I read an article recently, and it talked about how 90% of Black businesses do not have employees. So if we don't have employees, how are we able to sustain this beautiful business that we envisioned? How can we scale? How can we build wealth? So funding from companies who really believe in the mission and believe that it's not only for a certain segment of people that
Mhm.
it's actually is definitely a need for improvement in that area.
Wonderful. I think that's absolutely that resonates very deeply because we've done the first step in that acknowledging, hey, this exists. But if we want to make this sustainable, we need to figure out ways to bring funds into this community, bring funds into this particular segment of entrepreneurs, who I have to say that the history of being Black women, especially in this country, is one of embedded with ingenuity and resourcefulness. It makes a lot of sense that you see a lot of entrepreneurship in this particular segment of society. Fascinating discussion. Maybe that's some programming WiT can follow up on how to find some funding. That would
There
be
you
a great,
go.
yeah. So now I have some more sort of general fun questions. All right.
Okay.
How do you like your coffee?
So I've really been getting into matcha lattes. I've
Ooh,
been trying to
fun.
put down the coffee. I do like hazelnut creamer in my coffee, but I've been more so drinking matcha lattes, and I put oat milk in it
Mm-mm.
and chai.
Mhm.
syrup, and then a little bit of nutmeg. It is so delicious.
I'm gonna go make that right now. Right now. I have matcha, I have nutmeg, and I think I have chai syrup downstairs. Don't have the oat
Okay,
milk,
there you
but
go.
it's like
Let me,
that's kind of caffeine I can get behind. That's a treat. That's
yeah.
a two for one, fuel and love in the same cup.
Hmm.
I love it. Where do you do your best work?
My best
What
work.
space? Is it your
Ah,
workbench? Is it your desk? Is it your desk at work? Is it outside on a walk? Is it the gym? Like where do you feel like your best self, where you're giving the most amount of you that is you?
ooh, I do like my home office. I think I do my best work there
Mhm.
and in a creative space. Like I do, so my space is very it's creative chaos, I like to say, but I do my best work there. And then I also will say I do my best work, I'm noticing, right after I do a high intensity workout because I'm
Mm.
already pumped and the adrenaline is going. So when I have that big burst of energy, that's when I go and do something creative. I actually I had a really great idea that came to me while I was on the Stairmaster. So I was like, so I'm like, as soon as I finished my 30 minutes on there, I went to my office and started working. So yeah, I think the best place for me is someplace where it's secluded, where it's peaceful, quiet, and creative.
Makes a lot of sense. I can see
Yeah.
that. And my last question is, what is something that you know about yourself now that would have surprised you 5 years ago?
5 years ago, I am 5 years ago, looking at myself now, I would say that I would have been most surprised at how much I've put myself out there and how much courage that I've had to really share my message and my story. A lot of the I Am Unique brand, it comes from a very vulnerable place.
Mm.
And I don't think I would have had even longer than 5 years ago, I don't think that I would have really believed that I could grow into the person that I am now. Like
Wow.
how much I was able to stretch. And I think that I'm a constant evolution and I constantly surprise myself. And the people around me who knew me way back when, and they're like, oh, wow, you're doing this and this. I would have never thought. And I can't believe myself either. But it's just being able to move in spite of the fear and not letting that cripple me. That has been something that has been rewarding to see. And my younger self thanks the me now
That's
for betting on myself.
Wow, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. That's some, and I picked that time 5 years because it's not that long ago. An adult, and especially the older you get, it feels more like yesterday. But it's a block of time, and you can really
Yeah.
get some surprises. I'm a more patient person now. Some people have more energy. It all depends. It's always a gift to yourself in the future to invest in
Mm-hmm.
yourself this way.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, anytime. And if people want to learn more about you and your brand, where can we find you?
You can find me at Jennifer D. Vassel on social media everywhere. And then my website is jennifervassel.com. If you want to learn more about I Am Unique, you can go to I Am Unique book everywhere on social media and then IamUniqueBrand.com, our website.
Fantastic. Have a wonderful day. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care.